Recovery is a process of decisions podcast. This podcast is a weekly revealing of the recovery journey of peer support specialist Trent Thomas. Join him on his internal research-driven dive into what to and what not to do in sustaining recovery. His weekly episodes demonstrate that you are not alone, and what we can't do alone, we can do together. This life is hills and valleys, but we were built for struggle. These weekly episodes are a journey into his life lessons as he fulfills his daily mandate to help someone other than himself. Welcome. The Recovery is a Process of Decisions podcast. Welcome to Recovery is a Process of Decisions podcast. This is Trent Thomas, your recovery peer support specialist. Tonight's episode is entitled Recovery is Selfish. Selfish is defined as chiefly considering one's own personal profit. Recovery requires participating in one's own survival. It involves self-control, self-guidance, self-determination, self-preservation. Yes, recovery is selfish. Recovery indicates selfhood relating to one's very existence. Existence means your very life. Recovery is my decision to live and not die. For me, recovery indicates self-determination, to determine for myself to live. Every day I decide to make the efforts to live, to eat, breathe, bathe, coexist within my community, to protect oneself from self, from making destructive, life-ending, or life-shortening decisions. Each and every day, I live life on life's terms, to make a willing decision to submit to God's will, to make the next correct decision, to live life according to God's will, and receive more rewards and less consequences from bad decisions. Recovery requires putting my treatment for the disease I suffer from before anything else. Because without putting the disease of addiction in remission, nothing else matters. Not the job, the money, the wife, my life, the family. None of that will exist if I submit to the destructive consequences of becoming a victim of the disease of addiction. Nothing will matter. Gone will be all that I have accomplished. All that I have acquired will be dissolved faster than I could believe possible. In an instant, gone will be my self-respect, my self-discipline, my self-conscious, my self-determination, my self-esteem, my self-confidence, my self-assurance, my self-worth, my self-dignity, my self-pride. Yes, recovery is a selfish decision. Without my selfish desire to treat my disease of addiction, first, my life would be absorbed into the trenches of addiction and its deadly lifestyle. Death is the eventual outcome. Sooner or later, ultimately, the destination is assured. Recovery is the only solution to the absolute determination of addiction. For me, there is no question my disease wants me dead, more sooner than later. This is absolute, binding, and guaranteed. No question or compromise. Recovery is a selfish decision to live, and it requires a selfish, self-absorbing confirmation that treatment of my disease must come before any other decision I make on a daily basis. Every day I get a new opportunity to live in my recovery. This decision to live mandates that my recovery comes first. My first waking decision each new day is to thank God for waking me in my right mind and being able to submit willingly to His will for my life. From this prayer forward, I must selfishly place my recovery before everything else. Yes, recovery is a selfish decision, a decision to live and not die, a decision to put my recovery before anything and anyone. Otherwise, there will be no decision that matters for my life. Not treating my disease would first have me succumbing to the ravages of this deadly disease, a disease that ultimately wants me dead. With a selfish assurance, I selfishly treat my disease first. With this selfishness, I get in return self-confidence, self-esteem, a self-worth that permits me to recover with the help of a power greater than myself. I get to live another day. As long as I selfishly place treatment before anything and anyone, I get a new opportunity to practice self-love and love myself enough to warrant saving me from me. My worth is ultimately determined by my selfish desire to live and treat the incurable disease of addiction, one decision at a time. As long as I selfishly treat myself so that I don't harm myself, I get a new opportunity to just do better. Yes, recovery is selfish, where I love myself enough to treat my recovery first in all I do. This is Trent Thomas on another episode of Recovery is a Process of Decisions podcast. You can now subscribe to this podcast and receive special in-depth episodes for subscribers only, as well as a private personal email account to communicate directly with me for comments and show suggestions. In addition, I will be doing podcast shoutouts to all those subscribers who request shoutouts. As always, your inspiring comments can be left at transnetrecover.com/podcast. Please feel free to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, #TransNetRecover. Thank you and have a blessed day.